school. High school is stressful to say the least. You are pushed to do well in school by your parents, teachers, and your peers. You may play sports or be in a club. You have friends and a social life to take care of, and there's a lot on your plate all the time. It can be overwhelming. I think that we can all agree that making small things easier can result in an easier high school experience. This is why we propose that Pomperaug High School should go back to the schedule we had last year. It would not only be easier for students, but teachers as well. My Spanish teacher, Mrs. Johnson, says that block scheduling is killing the language. She's having trouble teaching her class Spanish without everyday exposure, and she is 3 weeks behind from where she was last year. This is obviously an immense problem that puts the students' learning at jeopardy if we do not fix it now.
Although it may seem like the ideal school day, fewer classes per day, homework every other night, and not going to the same class every day, these ideas are misleading. While there are benefits of a block schedule, we can't forget to talk about what is wrong with it. First, we do lose class time per week. To an average student, that may not sound like a problem, but rather a success. But to teachers, this can mess up their yearly goals. More curriculum needs to be crammed into one class so that the requirements are reached. This is a big problem, especially in world language classes. When learning a new language, it is very important to use what you learn as often as possible. As a student, I have personal experience with having trouble with the idea of class every other day. If I have class on Monday, the chances of me remembering everything I learned on Wednesday are not very likely. My teacher tends to repeat a lot of what we learned in the previous class in the beginning of the new class, which ends up wasting time to learn new material. At first, the idea of having homework every other night sounded great, but the reality is that now in one night we are getting the amount of homework that we would receive from the original 2 class periods on, say, an A day. Yes, we have 2 days to complete it, but the next day you are given the same amount of homework for your B-day class. So now, in a 2-day period, you have been given double the amount of homework that you normally would have had. In addition, making up for an absence is more difficult than necessary. The rule that you have 2 days to make up what you missed still applies, but now we have double the amount of homework to make up. Did you know that the attention span for an average teenager is only 10 to 15 minutes? In our 80-minute classes, the activities we do should be constantly changing, but most of the time that is not happening. Having a student's full attention for the class period is not likely to happen. Due to the fact that teenagers' brains are not fully developed, it is almost impossible for us not to daydream or let our minds wander in class. Also, there are many things distracting students, and the longer you sit in a class, the more distractions will be found. Comparing our 42-minute class periods last year to our 80-minute class periods this year, it makes a huge impact on students and teachers. If we went back to a non-block schedule, not only do we have more class time in the long run, but students will actually be more involved.
Block scheduling does have its benefits, though. It's more like college classes that they do not meet every day. The downside is that juniors got used to having class every day for the past 2 years, and now that's changing, it's causing a lot of chaos. Another main purpose for changing this routine was to add more organization to our school day, but as far as I can tell, it only caused more confusion. There's large amounts of students in one place for study halls in the cafeteria and AP room, and that causes problems for signing in, and people are getting unnecessary detentions. As a student, I understand the idea of choosing block scheduling over a normal schedule, but I do not think it has benefited our school. In conclusion, block scheduling is doing more harm than good. It creates a learning environment that is confusing and harder than it needs to be. Schools should be using a schedule that's easy to learn, ask questions, and to communicate with teachers. Using block scheduling does not make sense at all. It's only making these things harder. Why did we adopt a new schedule if it's only going to make things harder for students and teachers? In general, the new scheduling, we need a more effective and simpler schedule for students to do their best.